Okay, so now let's start off with SQLite in Python in Spider. Now, before we start the video, I want to just keep these basic syntax slides on your screen for 5 seconds each, so that you can always scroll back and refer to them. Creating a table, inserting a table, and now selecting from a table. So this is sufficient. I think we are good to begin. Okay, we'll be working on the same example, the contacts table that is there, and let we start off with importing SQLite 3 into the program. So it's SQLite database, but SQLite 3 is the library that you need to import. Now what you have to do is to create a database and connect it. So for creating and connecting a database, what you have to do is you have to create a connector. Okay, let's connection. Okay, connection is equal to, and you have to use the connect. One sec. You have to use the connect. So connector is equal to SQLite 3 dot connect, and then whatever database name you want to give. Contact. Okay, so contact details dot db. Okay, in quotes. So this is your connection. Connection is SQLite 3 dot connect, database name dot db. Okay, now what you have to do is you have to make a cursor. I'll call the cursor as db. db is equal to connection dot cursor. Okay, so these two things are mandatory for you. Okay, for creating a database. Once you've done that, you can just print db created and or connected. Now you will be wondering why I wrote and or. So if the database is existing, it will just connect to it, and if it's not existing, it's gonna create it. Okay, this both these lines. So now the first line basically. The second line is the cursor. Basically, it's initializing a cursor. Now let's go on to creating a table. Okay, as you saw, for creating a table, you have to write this query. Create table contacts, name, text, phone, integer, email, all those things. Okay, so let's do it here. But now how you have to do it is, you have to give the cursor the command to execute this SQL thing. So you have to do db.execute. So your cursor is going to execute whatever you write in the brackets. In the brackets, in quotations, you have to write your SQL code. So the SQL code that we saw, query that we saw was create table contacts. Okay, and then you have to do what? Column name, data type, column 2 data type, column 3 data type, etc. So column 1 is name, data is text, column 2 is phone, data type is integer, column 3 is email, data type is again text, column 4 is location, data type is again text. Okay, now you add a semicolon, end your quotation, and that is it. So this is your basic syntax for executing any database, any SQL query. db.execute brackets, quotation marks, whatever is your SQL query, semicolon, quotation mark, close, bracket, close. Okay, now once this is done, you can afford to print table created. Okay, that's it. So if I run this, it will say db has been created or connected and table has been created. Now that the table has been created, okay, if I were to do this again, okay, it will give me an error that the table already exists. Okay, so for that you can modify this query like this: if not exists. So now I can run this program as many times as I want. Create this table if it's not existing contacts with these details and print table created. Now when I run this, it will give me DB created or connected, table created. Okay, now if I were to show you my folder in which this file is there, you will see the database file. So this is my folder. This is your contact details database that we just created, and it's 8 KB in size because there's practically only one table in it with 4 columns in it, right? Now what we are going to do is we are going to insert data in the table. Okay, for insert we are going to use the insert query, which looks like this: insert into table name, then your columns, and then your values. Okay, so let's do that. db.execute insert into contacts. Okay, then I have to put column names, that is name, phone, email. Okay, values will be whatever contact details I want to put. So if it's now see, the name is a text value, so I need to put it in quotation marks. Okay, so I'll put Janak in quotes, but if you were to observe, I've used these double quotes out here already in the start of this statement. So these I will have to put in single quotes. Janak, then I have to add a number. Okay, then I have to add email ID. So Janak at email.com, again in single quotes, right? And then I have to add the location, Mumbai, again in single quotes. Okay, so now my code is done. So I add a semicolon, then I've finished my double quotes, these ones which are there in the start. I end these double quotes and then I close the bracket of db.execute. So this is my insert into contacts line. Okay, so now after this is done, we can print value inserted, right? But how do you check? How do you check what all is there inside? Okay, uh, just for the just for betterment, what we'll do is we'll insert some 2-3 values inside this table and then we'll check. So I will do db.execute and I will change the name Janak, then I'll do Rahul, then third name I'll do Vicky. Okay, number I will just change some number in the middle. There we go. Email ID I'll put some different one. Rahul, Vicky, city I'll put Delhi. Right, so I'm inserting 3 values in the table just so that we have some variety in life. Okay, and then we'll do value inserted. So that's it. Table created, value inserted. Now we want to check these values, right? For checking these values, firstly, in order for these values to be saved inside the table, we need to commit the connection. So we have to do con.commit. So con.commit is saving the changes to the table. Okay, con.commit. Only then will it get saved inside the table. Otherwise, every time once this program is ended, the table will again be empty. Okay, so I'll do con.commit. So these values remain inside the table. Okay, now what I have to do is I have to do db.execute. Okay, now I have to selecting values from the table. Okay, that is this third one. This is what we are doing, selecting from a table. Select star from table name, select star from contacts, and select email from contacts. This is what we are going to try first. So let's do that. Selecting values from, so we'll do db.execute, and the code is simple. Select star from contacts, select star from contacts. But now what this will do is, it will actually select a lot of lines. Okay, semicolon, don't forget the semicolon. Now this is going to select all the 3 lines. Okay, so if you print it out directly, it's not going to print out, because it's typically like a list of rows that is going to be there, okay, in that. So to print it out, you need to initiate a for loop. Okay, so how that goes is, you have already executed this statement. So your cursor has selected all those values. Okay, now you have to fetch all those values. So you have to do for row in db.fetch all. Okay, so db is your cursor. Cursor fetch all means all the rows that are there in the cursor. For any row in the db.fetch all, print row. Okay, so this is how you are going to execute, you are going to print out the contents that you have inserted in a table. So you have inserted using the insert thing. You have selected using the select statement. But to print it out, you need to do this. Okay, so now when I run this, it will first say db, that is table created or connected, table created, value inserted. Okay, and then it has inserted 3 values, Janak, Rahul, Vicky, and this Mumbai, Delhi, Pune. Okay, so now for row in db, so now if you want only the name, I can do row 0. Okay, but now if I run this program again, it's going to enter all these values again. See this, I will run this program again. It is now just printing the names, but it has entered all the 3 values again, Janak, Rahul, Vicky. Then it has saved that con.commit. Then because of that, when I ran the program again, it is again Janak, Rahul, Vicky. Okay, so if I print row 0, row 1, row 2, it is going to print either the name, number, email ID, or this. Okay, so I can either access it this way by changing the element here, or I can straight away, if I want email ID, I can either do print 0, 1, 2. So I can either do print row 2. Okay, so it will print these email IDs. Now I ran this again, so all the 3 values are there, 3 times each. Every time I run this program, it's gonna add more stuff to this table, right? So now what I need to do is, I need to avoid this problem. Okay, I need to delete a few rows. Okay, or I need to change my table. Now if I go to delete all these rows which are there, it's going to be a hassle. So instead I will create a new table, but now I need you guys to focus here. Okay, I need to create a table in which the email ID does not get repeated. Okay, means a person can have the same name, but the email ID cannot get repeated. So if you are logging into Facebook or logging into any website with an email ID, and then when you try to register on that website again, that website tells you that this email ID already exists. It means that it is not allowing a second person or second entry of registration with the same email ID. So the same funda is here. Okay, so from this, whichever column you want to name as that key column which cannot be repeated, you have to define it here as primary key. Okay, so email ID, if I don't want it to be repeated, okay, I will name it as the primary key. So email, text, primary key. Or if I want the username to not be repeated, I will make the username as the primary key. So just for this example, let's make the username as the primary key. So I have to just change the table definition. Okay. This is exactly as it is, except that after the data type, I will write primary key. Okay, so name is a text value and it's a primary key. So name cannot be repeated. Okay. Now, another thing is that this change will only be done if the table doesn't exist. If the table exists, it is going to load the existing table. Understood? So I cannot change an existing table and add a key later on. I have to now make a new table called contacts 1. Okay. So all these codes I'm going to change and I'm going to put contacts 1. Okay. It's a new table. Okay. So it will get created with a definition that the name is a primary key. Now let's see what happens. Database created, table created, values inserted. These are the values. Okay. Now I have printed out the email ID by printing row 2. Okay. Now you see what happens. I want to select email from contacts. Okay. And then I want to print out that. So now when I do db.execute select email from contacts, it's not going to have all these values. It's just going to have that one email wala value in it. So now when I do for row in db.fetch all print row, it's going to print all the email IDs. But before doing that, now when I'm running this program again from start, it is saying that when I'm executing these 3 lines again, there is an integrity error which says that unique constraint failed dot name, which means that these names are not unique, they already exist inside the database. Okay, so it's not, when I am running this entire program again, it is not allowing the program to proceed ahead of this line where the unique constraint is being failed. So now if I want to run this program, I need to comment out these things now because those values are already there in the table. So now it will connect to the database. It will create the table if it's not there. If the table is there, it's just going to initiate the table. And then it will select the email from contacts and then it's going to print it out. Okay. So there you go. This is how it is. Now let's say I want to print email and name. So I can do print select name comma email from contacts. Now when I do this, it will give me Janak and this. Now again if I want to access the name only, it will be row 0. So all the names, and row 1 will be all the email IDs. Okay. So this is how this entire ordeal works of select. So now that you've understood how to select values in a table, okay, our next task is going to be updating an existing record in a table. Let's say that I change my email ID to some other email ID and I want to update that. So how do I do that? I have to go to db.execute. Okay, and now I have to use update. Okay, so I have to update table name, that is contacts. Okay, and I have to set email is equal to some new value called, okay, I've used double quote, so single quote, new value called Janak at google.com, where name is equal to, again semicolon, quotation closed, and our query is perfect. So now look at this. Okay, what is the syntax? Update table name, set condition, set column name is equal to new value where condition. Okay, so that is your syntax. So I'll just mention the syntax here. Update table name, set column is equal to new where condition. This is your syntax for updating. So if please write it down somewhere. So the syntax is update table name, set column is equal to new value where condition. So what we are doing is update contact, set email is equal to this new email ID where the name is Janak. So now when I do this, okay, and then when I am again printing out this entire thing, for printing it out I have to do this entire thing again where I have to execute select these values and then db.fetch all and then print it out with a for loop. So now when I do it, look at this. Initially my this thing is janak@email.com, okay, and here I have again Janak. Okay, yeah, here see the problem that I have done is my name is full caps out here when actually it should be like this. Okay, so now it's going to run perfectly. Okay, still a problem. Okay, I understood where the mistake is. I have put the table contacts when it should actually be contacts 1. Okay, now when I run this, it'll work. So first, when I am executing this here, okay, it's going to print these 3 things with my old email ID. Now when I'm executing the same 3 name and email here, it's going to print the same thing with my new email ID. Okay, so that is how you update an existing record in the table. Okay, so this was update. So if you remember, I showed you 4 things last time. Okay, there was select, insert, update and delete. Okay, so now delete is something that is remaining for us to work on and use. Okay, apart from that, okay, so let's use delete first. Deleting a value, deleting a row. Okay, so how do you delete? db.execute, this is obviously compulsory, execute delete from contacts 1 where name is equal to. So here what I'm doing is I'm deleting my record from the table. Okay, again now I've not closed this properly. I need to add a semicolon, quotation marks. Yes, perfect. And then now when I run this, it's gonna get deleted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select star from this and print out all the remaining values afterwards. So select name, email, nahi, select star, and now I'm going to print out all the components. So now you see that first iteration Janak Rahul Wiki, second iteration Janak with the new email ID, okay, and third iteration Rahul and Wiki. Okay, now what is the mistake that I've done is that when I have updated my table here, okay, I need to do con.commit, otherwise that thing does not get saved. If you can see, this entire program ran with my old email ID again. Okay, I had changed it out here but it hadn't got saved, so it again got ran that way. So I have to do con.commit out here for it to get saved. Commit the connection. Now when I run this program, every time it's gonna give my new email ID. Okay, Also, after deleting the value also, I need to give a con.commit, otherwise everything is pointless. But now I realize that this is actually coming because I have deleted the value, but it's not been saved. That's why it's coming. So let's do that. There you go. First it's coming janak at google.com, Rahul Wiki, then again it's coming that way, and then this. Now we have deleted it, con.commit. So there will be no such row only. Rahul Wiki, Rahul Wiki, Rahul Wiki. There you go. So once you commit to it, then that record is gone forever. Okay, if you delete and commit, it's gone forever. And if you update it and commit, it's saved. Okay. So you learned about primary key. Okay, this is a new thing. You learned about updating a value in a table, and you learned about deleting a row in a table. Now this deleting ka syntax is very simple. Okay, delete from table name where condition. Simple. So this is your normal syntax for deleting. Okay. Now one last thing that you need to know before we can complete this video, okay, is how to add a new column. Okay. See, here you have defined your table with all these columns. Now if you change this table is not going to get altered because it's going to load the same table if it exists, and only if it doesn't exist will it this thing. So you will have to delete the entire table and create it again if you want to add a new column from here. But SQLite allows you to add a new column dynamically also. Okay. So in the if I want to add a new column in the table, I can do it very simply. I have to use something called as alter table. Okay. So now let me show you how it goes. db.execute alter table, then again the table name, that is contacts 1. Okay. Add column. Okay. And now I need another personal detail, so I'll add age and integer. Okay. Now again I will do semicolon, quotation mark, and we are done. Okay, so this is alter table, new alter table, table name, add column, new column data type. So that is the syntax. So I'll just write the syntax for you out here. Alter table, table name, sorry, table name, add column, new column, data type. So if I do this, okay, this is going to add a new column to the table. Now since I'm altering the table, I do not need a con.comment for an alter statement. For this alter, I do not need this. So now when I print this, okay, now if I select all values in a table, okay, see what happens. Initially everything is okay, but now Rahul, Vicky, Rahul, phone number, email ID, Delhi, and none. Why none? Because we've added the new fifth column here to the table, but it has not been this thing. What do you call? It has not got any values in it. We have not added any values to that. Okay. So this is that. Now now let's say you want to add a value to that. Okay. So how do? You just use that insert statement again to add age to okay, if I want to add Rahul's age, okay, what I will do, db dot execute, okay, insert into, now I want to just add age, only this column, okay, values, in values I'll add some age 35, where name is equal to Rahul. Okay, what this will do is this will add Rahul's age to the table. Okay, but now when I do run this, okay, this table has already been altered here, so I don't think that this program will run straight away, but we'll just try. See, duplicate column name age, right? Because we have already altered the table in the earlier iteration. So what I have to do is I have to comment out everything, okay, and I have to just create, I'll just leave this create table if not exist. So I'll just connect, and then I will create table if not exist, and then I'll just execute this one thing where I'm inserting Rahul ka this thing, and then I will just select all the values from the table and execute it. Okay, I don't know why this happened, my laptop. Okay, so I'm just changing that one value, Rahul wala value. Okay, actually it's not insert into, it will be update. I'll have to use update out here. Sorry, it is my bad. Update contacts 1 set. This is how I'll have to do it, and I think this is the better way of doing it. So let's do this, and table created, if I print it out, Rahul's age is printed here, and we are good to go. So this was it. I hope you have understood what we've done. Python with SQL, pretty easy. Okay, our next video will be a few commands of running SQL with pandas. So see you in the next video.